What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazique, aka Unique Mazique, the hardest working man in sports and gaming. Got a simple question: who's better, Kyrie Irving or Kemba Walker? Now that might have seemed like a pretty open and shut type of question to most people for a while, but I've never really been totally convinced that Kyrie is a superior player than Kemba Walker. Is Kyrie a bigger star, a bigger name? Yes. He's got the Uncle Drew thing going on. He played alongside LeBron. He had an opportunity to come up huge in the NBA Finals. But I always ask myself, like, because this comparison has been in my mind for a while, I always ask myself, if Kemba Walker was playing alongside LeBron, could he have done the same thing? And I'm gonna tell you something. I 100% believe that he could have. I really do. I think Kemba Walker. If you take a look at the way these guys compare over the course of their careers, it is startling how similar the numbers are. Kyrie played for worse teams early on. Uh, Kemba hasn't played for spectacular teams, but we know Kyrie's played for some really bad teams, right? But their scoring average over their career is very similar. Kyrie 22 a game, Kemba's at 19.3. Kyrie a few more turnovers, 2.6 to 2.1. The blocks are almost the same, 0.3 to 0.4. The steals are exactly the same, 1.3. The assists are about the same, 5.5 to 5.4. The rebounds are close, 3.8 to 3.5. Free throw shooting's definitely in favor of Kyrie, 87% to 83. But Kemba shoots a little bit more free throws, but about the same amount. The 3-point percentage is Kyrie a little bit, about 39% to 36%. The field goal percentage overall has been Kyrie through the career. But when you look at where they are now, and I know you have to give Kyrie some credit, especially for the way he played last night, because obviously this conversation is really kind of being precipitated by Monday night's game, where we saw those two guys go head to head, and we saw Kemba and the Charlotte Hornets get the better of the Boston Celtics. Now, Kyrie had a really strong game. I thought he distributed extremely well. He worked beautifully out of pick and roll, and I thought that he decided to turn on his offense and score at the right time. I thought he played great. 27 points, 11 assists. The only thing of it is while he played great, Kemba played spectacular. Kemba had probably the best stat line overall, the best overall game of anybody last night in the NBA. 43 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He scored like 15 to 16 points in the fourth quarter. He was literally unstoppable, 7 out of 13 from three-point range, and he led his team to a victory, which is ultimately the bottom line. Now, Kemba right now is Kemba might be playing the best basketball of anybody in the NBA at this point. I mean, he's leading the league in scoring right now at 29.6 a game. Now, definitely, his team has less scoring options, bona fide scoring options than the Celtics. And Kemba also is in a contract season. So let's not forget that he's playing for that max, and he looks like he wants it for real. But he is going the scoring route to get it. And he is showing you every night that if you asked him to be that dynamic offensive player that Kyrie has been, if you asked him to just get buckets over and over and over again and distribute second to be actually absolutely a score first point guard, he could do that as well as anybody in the league. I think he's showing that right now. I mean, literally, he's leading the league in scoring, 29.6 points a game. Had 43 last night, coming off a 60-point performance. He has been phenomenal, just insanely good. You look just at his numbers across the board this year. 6 assists, which is tied for a career high for him, 6.1 assists, 1.1 steals. Like I said, the 29.6 points per game, 4.4 rebounds. That's tied for a career high. He's shooting 86% from the free throw line. Last season, he was just a shade above that. 3-point percentage is at 39% for the season. He's only shot higher than that one time in his career. He's shooting a career best 46% from the field. Played in 16 games, 35 minutes a game. He has been insane. But now Kyrie hasn't had a bad season either. And obviously he's peeling some things back, trying to fit in with this roster that Danny Ainge has put together for the Celtics. So while I'm not necessarily comfortable with saying Kemba Walker is better than Kyrie Irving, because I always, you hear me talk about it. If you listen to me on At Me Bro, or you listen to me on the Sim Hangout, you know that I feel Kyrie's a little overrated, because I believe people have Kyrie in this place where he's like a top 2 or 3 point guard. And I just don't think that he plays well enough on both ends, even though he is averaging 1.7 steals a game this year. So he's definitely upping his defense. So that's not something we can just rest on and say, oh, he's, traditionally he hasn't been seen as a good defender, so we're just going to hold on to that. But if you look down the stretch, even against Kemba, he's not on Kemba down the stretch. They put Marcus Smart on Kemba, and Marcus Smart's a phenomenal defender, so that makes sense to a degree. But as the alpha dog, as the man on a squad, usually you like to see that player take that responsibility, or take that challenge and say, I'm going to guard the best player. That's something that we also don't see from Steph, which is the reason why I don't say Steph's the best player in the league. I think he's one of the best, but that's the reason why I wouldn't give him that at this point. At no point in his career has he done that. There was a point in LeBron's career that he did that. Now that he's older, he doesn't do it as much. But there was a point when he did do that. Kobe did that. Mike did that. The best players will tend to do that if there's any way, shape, or form where they can do it, especially if the guy plays their position. Kyrie is not allowed to guard Kemba down the stretch. Kemba was on Kyrie throughout this entire game. Now, was Kyrie still giving him buckets? Yes, he was, because when you have players who are as offensively talented as these guys, you're not going to stop anybody. You're not going to stop them, especially with the rules now where you can't hand check and so on and so forth. You're not going to stop anybody, but you should be able, if you want to make it difficult. You want to push them to do something that they don't want to do. Make it as uncomfortable as possible. But there are going to be plays where you're going to play good defense and the guy's just that good, he's going to score anyway. And so that's, both of those guys are in that area. I'm not, like I said, I'm not comfortable with saying Kemba Walker is better than Kyrie. But I'm also not comfortable with saying Kyrie is definitively better than Kemba either. I mean, what part of the game would you point to with Kyrie and say that he is absolutely better than Kemba? Some people might say, well, Kyrie's done it in the clutch. He's shown that he can do it in the finals. Well, Kemba's not been in that position, and Kyrie hasn't been in that position without playing next to LeBron. So if you were to put Kemba in the same situation, we can't say he wouldn't have done the things that he's done, that Kyrie did. We can't make that statement. We don't know that. But what we do know is what we've seen when all things are somewhat equal. And across the board, these guys are very, very similar. You could even make the argument that some of Kyrie Irving's better years, like the 16-17 season, when he averaged 25 a game, was an all-star, 20, I mean, like I said, 25 a game, 5.8 assists. You got to ask yourself, like, I mean, that was the best season he had in his career. I mean, could he have done that without LeBron? I mean, something similar, yes, but to go to the heights that he went, those shots that he hit in the finals, right? Do you realize part of the reason he's able to hit those shots is because LeBron is on the floor? Like, all respect to Kyrie for making the shots and doing the awesome things that he does with the ball. But the floor balance makes a lot of difference. Like, if the entire offense could be converged upon Kyrie Irving and you didn't have LeBron on the floor, it changes the type of shots and the type of looks he gets. Kyrie's able to go one-on-one with guys. If he's the primary scorer, he's not able to go one-on-one in those types of situations. He's not. So that's something you have to remember, and if you put Kemba in the same situation, wow, we're looking at the fact of when people try to guard Kemba one-on-one, they have no chance. They have no chance. I mean, he's leaving outstanding defenders like Marcus Smart in the dust. So I think these two guys are literally on the same level right now. I think Kemba and Kyrie are on the same level. And I think the way that Kemba Walker is playing throughout this season is proof of that. And, you know, Kyrie's got his own movie, but Kimba is doing quite well himself. So that's something people need to really realize. You get caught up a lot of times in the name recognition and the fame and the people's just, how, he's been on the cover of 2K and all that blah, blah, blah. But doesn't mean he's a better player than some of the same guys. You got to look a little bit deeper. And if you look a little bit deeper, I think you see that Kemba Walker is quite comparable to Kyrie Irving. That's all I got for you today. If you love this basketball talk, man, don't forget, please don't forget, hit that like button. And also, man, you got to give a jab, step back, and drill that notifications bell as well. If you haven't subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed, please do that first, and then hit that notification so that you'll know when these new videos drop. I try to hit you guys with something in the morning, just as a reflecting type of thing over what's going on in basketball. Talk about some of the key topics that are going on. And then on Thursday mornings, don't forget to check for the next episode or the newest episode of At Me Bro. Myself and Nelson Blake will talk about basketball, sports, gaming, and a lot of things that fall in and around those interests. As always, I appreciate you watching. God bless and peace.